University Malaysia Kelantan (UMK) is an entrepreneurial university. We implement the government's aspiration to ensure the younger generation are not only highly educated but also entrepreneurial. UMK is the #1 entrepreneurial university in Malaysia and aspires to be one of the world's best by 2030. This is in line with the National Entrepreneurship Policy, which aims to make Malaysia an entrepreneurial country by 2030. According to this vision, UMK ensures the whole university functions within an entrepreneurial ecosystem. This ecosystem comprises 9 faculties, supported by institutes and centers of excellence implemented with the discipline of innovation-based entrepreneurship. The university's upper management, together with UMK employees at all levels, are committed to realizing UMK as a Malaysian public university well-respected for its foundation of entrepreneurship. Implementing this ecosystem, the UMK Entrepreneurship Institute (UMKEI) oversees 3 other entrepreneurship-based centers: the Centre for Entrepreneurship Development and Education (CEED), the Institute of Small and Medium Enterprises (ISME), and the Global Entrepreneurship Research and Innovation Centre (GERIC). The Faculty of Entrepreneurship and Business, spearheading this structure, has successfully developed collaborative entrepreneurial networks such as UMK Frontier Street, Entrepreneurship Advisory Council, and proudly led the Committee for Ministry of Higher Education Guide to Entrepreneurship Integrated Education. From the academic aspect, UMK offers 25 undergraduate programs and 16 postgraduate programs in the fields of business and management, tourism and hospitality, science and technology, as well as arts and heritage. The university is constantly enhancing its teaching and learning system to ensure that the process of learning takes place creatively and innovatively through My Academic Integrated System, My AIS, Massive Open Online Courses MOOC, and Blended Learning. UMK is committed to the development of first-class graduates to become the leaders of the industry. Collaboration with world-class local corporate sectors as well as a network of well-known regional education institutions is aimed at empowering UMK from various angles. This is evidenced by the increase in the marketability of graduates and graduates who create businesses. Research, innovation, and commercialization is another important part of UMK. Research funding and the number of innovations and commercialized products increase every year. UMK has performed well in various prestigious competitions. With the hashtag UMK4Society, UMK is also involved in various community activities. Our staff and students consistently demonstrate outstanding skills and abilities. With such a great spirit of teamwork, UMK has never looked back to emerge as a respected educational entity in the region. We at UMK believe that our presence will give a new look to the development of the Valley of Knowledge. Indeed, our core, entrepreneurship, will always make us University Malaysia Kelantan relevant, unique and different.
Faculty of Earth Science have been established in 2012. We are in one of the youngest university in Malaysia. We have a vision to become a pioneer in sustainability, environment, and natural resource through entrepreneurship agenda.
Currently, Faculty of Earth Science offering 3 undergraduate programs. We also have 2 preparatory programs which managed at Faculty of Earth Science.
For Bachelor of Applied Science, Natural Resource with Honours, the focus of this program are much more on our biosphere, which means we are focusing on our plants, our animal, and also the management of our tropical forest. For another program, which is Bachelor of Applied Science, Sustainable Science with Honours, the program itself relate more on environmental element, which is we would like to sustain our environment together with the importance of economy and also social.
Always apply teaching and learning session by using technology such as by using GIS, drone, geospatial mapping technology, and also modeling. Students also be taught with to integrate geoscience understanding from classroom or practical learning with geoscience data from a variety of sources, creatively using the latest digital technology.
Science Preparatory Department is a new department and need to taking care and manage of 2 academic programs. Both of these programs will need to learn biology, mathematics, chemistry, and also physics.
Faculty of Earth Science Museum, actually we have various dry and wet specimens such as insects, small mammals, reptiles. Besides that, we also have rocks, minerals, and also fossils. So actually all those specimens being collected by our students.
To stay relevant, we have to be flexible. Besides flexible, we have to be unique. In Faculty of Earth Science, we have multidisciplinary research. Recently, we are focusing on the research on minerals and the fossil. Other than that, we use remote sensing and GIS in monitoring forests and urban planning. This research has been successfully done within our capacity of staff, supported with the grant that we received from government and other agencies.
We are optimistic to become one of the best faculty that focus on in environmental in Malaysia.
Hi, Assalamualaikum, and very good morning to all Malaysians, and I believe still morning in Dubai. Then very good morning for those live streaming from Dubai. Welcome to the 3rd FSP International Webinar on Towards Sustainable Environments. My name is Azhar Abbas, your moderator today. In the previous webinar, we have discussed and covered the topic of sustainable agriculture and tropical forest conservations. And today, we're going to discuss another interesting topic about the strategies to protect our atmosphere. I am very excited because together with me today is the 2 beautiful speakers. Our first speaker is Dr. Zehra Kanan Araki from the University of Sharjah, United Arab Emirates, UAE. And our second speaker is Dr. Norimi Rosaida Awang, our expert from the Faculty of Earth Science, University Malaysia, Kelantan. Before we start our webinar, I would like to share the webinar flow where we will start with Dr. Zehra first as a first speaker and followed by Dr. Norimi. After that, a Q&A session will take place. So all audience are welcome to ask our panel questions by typing your question in the comment section on Facebook. Alright, before I inviting our first speaker, I would like to introduce her background. Dr. Zehra is currently an assistant professor at the Industrial Engineering and Engineering Management Department at University of Sharjah, UAE. She received her bachelor degree in Industrial Engineering in Turkey. She has 13 years of academic and industrial experience in quality management system and lean approaches. She is holding a PhD degree in manufacturing, specifically lean product and process development. She has consulted for company in Turkey, guiding them on their journey to quality certifications and excellence awards. She conducted innovative research projects with prestigious firms in UK, including Rolls-Royce and Airbus. she introduced Lean Hospital Initiative at one of the prestigious hospitals in the UAE. Sustainable and Industry 4.0 are her current research interests. In this webinar, she's going to talk about a very interesting topic on reducing noise emission of civil aircraft as an action for environmental sustainability. Without further ado, Dr. Zehra, please welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this webinar. I'm very pleased to be here today together with you. As introduced, I'm going to talk about the noise emission today, what we can do, what are the strategies, who are the responsible parties. Thanks again for inviting me. I'm very happy to be with you today here. So, yeah, and you can see my screen right now, I assume, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I would like to start with the sources of noise, actually. They are categorized by World Health Organization. And these are like from industrial noise to the noise that's caused by leisure activities even. But as the main source of environmental noise pollution is considered as transportation noise, especially because it is all around us, right? But when we look at the industrial noise, it is limited to the industrial zones. So why is noise an environmental concern? Because it affects human body not only physiologically but also psychologically. And noise disturbs our sleep at night. Even it might affect our, the mood the next day, and it would affect our even hearing if we are exposed to the noise constantly. Then it would have an effect on our hearing, it would affect our annoyance, it would create annoyance and increase the stress level. Not only that, but also noise has effects on residential behavior, because people who are living close by the airports, near the industrial zones, or near the noisy streets, they are constantly exposed to noise, and of course this constant noise exposure is creating all these physiological and psychological consequences. So in terms of the residential behavior, those people have to close their windows, they cannot use their balconies, or they have to turn the TV to even louder levels. And finally, maybe they complain to the authorities, and among all this noise, in quotation mark, maybe they will hope for the best to be heard, by the authorities. So on the other hand, again, World Health Organization identified that the noise level above 80 decibel is associated with increased aggressive behavior. What is noise above 80 decibel is busy crossroads, truck, motorcycle, or above 100 decibel, it is subway, car horn, aircraft at takeoff, for example. And on the right-hand side, you will see if you are exposed to the noise level above 80 decibel, it is hazardous to the hearing, okay? And above 120, even you will feel the pain. And again, when we look at the sources of the noise, when we compare them, it is found that the people are mostly annoyed by the aircraft noise. So, as you can see, noise, especially aircraft noise, is a major environmental concern. This concern, of course, puts a lot of pressure on governments or policymakers or authorities. For example, governments, they put strict regulations and on air traffic management or air traffic paths, okay? And On the other hand, ICAO, which is International Civil Aviation Organization, they came up with a strategic solution which is called balanced approach. What is this balanced approach? With the balanced approach, you focus on identifying the noise problem at a specific airport and analyze several measures in order to reduce the noise. This balanced approach consists of 4 principal elements. And these last 3 elements, actually airports are responsible for these last 3 elements. What can they do? So they are trying technological solutions and several measures in order to reduce the noise, like restrictions on the use of land or approved procedures to take off and landing, compensation to residents, and even operations restrictions. So in the near future, for example, airports will have to deal with even the increased air traffic together with the oil shortage, which will create even a greater problem. I would like to take you to a website now to show the current situation of air traffic at this very moment. Right now, what's going on, we will see. Okay, bear with me a minute, please. Yeah, here it is. So this is, the website is called Flight Radar 24. Right now, you can see all the flights operating, maybe taking off, or landing or cruising. These are all the flights all over the world. Sorry. So, and you can track which aircraft belongs to which airline, where they come from, where they go to. All this information can be tracked. This is the night zone that you can see, the darker area, okay? So you see how many flights, how intense it is, the air traffic, how intense it is. And imagine this is the 30% of the total air traffic due to the pandemic. So you would expect at least 2 or 3 times larger intensity after the pandemic. Okay, and especially in the US and Europe, the intensity goes even higher. Let's look at Malaysia. Just out of interest, yeah, here Malaysia and even Kelantan. So, okay, you are not too much exposed to the aircraft noise, maybe right now, at least. Okay, so this is the situation at this moment. What's going on the air? Okay, when we go back to our presentation here, yeah, so balanced approach, with the balanced approach, what these airports can do and what airlines can do, I'm gonna show you an overall picture with an example here. Okay, there is this system called quota count. I don't want to bore you with the details, but simply in this system, there are 8 categories, and aircraft are sorted according to these categories. And each category has 3 decibel span. And of course, the airports are forcing airlines to use low quota. So we call it quota here, quota count, okay, each category. For example, 84 to 87, this is quota count 0.25. So airports are forcing the airlines to use low quota aircraft, especially during the night. The most significant example is here Airbus A380. You must know this giant airplane, right? Double deck. So this design actually has achieved quota count 0.5 at arrival and quota count 2 at departure. London airports strongly urge the airlines to use low-quota aircraft. In fact, all 5 London airports are closed at night, okay, because of noise concerns. So they don't operate at all between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m., if I'm not wrong. And of course, but some airports still using this quota count system, and for example, Paris and Amsterdam airports in these cities, they are charging airlines different rates based on the noise emitted by their aircraft. So therefore, one of the, like here you can see London airports, especially they are implementing this charges if your aircraft is operating more than 96 decibel at night. So you are not allowed to fly at all. And of course, this sort of pressure is forcing the aircraft manufacturers to reduce their aircraft noise at least by 10 decibel per operation. Now there is this force. So how can we achieve that? By reducing the noise at the source, yeah? Actually, preventing the problem is better than correcting the problem. So now, how can we do that, even reducing the noise at source? Here, aircraft manufacturers play a vital role. All these regulations and policies, of course, putting pressure on aircraft manufacturers to contribute to a sustainable air transport. And it means actually that they need to come up with a new engine design or fuselages. So then we need a new engine, yeah, obviously, that will fly more silent aircraft. In order to do that, we need a right and visual knowledge environment. Without correct knowledge, especially during the early design stages, it is not possible to make accurate decisions. That's why, together with my research group, we identified a process of providing such knowledge environment through the use of trade-off curves. What is trade-off curve? Trade-off curves mainly combine the power of data with the power of human visual processing system. As you can see in the figure, our brain has a larger processing area for visuals than numbers. Also, trade-off curves facilitate evaluation of multiple conflicting parameters in one graph only. Now, everybody generates trade-off curves, but we are talking about real data here, not the mathematically generated data. So this data should come from experience, should be either successful or failed projects. Even failed projects are very important to us to make our decisions for the future designs, okay? So what can we do? We can extract the data from previous projects or from research and development, or we can generate a completely new design, new concept by modifying the existing solutions or re-engineering the competitor solutions and so on. And then we will identify the feasible area, which shows us the design area that will give you potentially successful design solutions. So when we go back to the jet engine noise issue, it is the highest during takeoff. which is considered as the 100% of the whole aircraft noise at takeoff. I'm talking about here. So what factors do we look for from an engine performance? We listed the decision criteria. Of course, the low noise, the first one. Then reliability, which means my engine runs according to its intended purpose. And durability, it means the engine wouldn't be damaged easily. And the last criteria is, of course, about cost. I want low-cost aircraft. I want low noise and low-cost aircraft. From these decision criteria, we identify the key parameters, key design parameters. And these key design parameters are affecting the takeoff noise, okay? Thrust here is the power that the engine generates, and this power is pushing the aircraft forward. So it is quite vital, okay? Very important parameter here. And the second one, bypass ratio, I will explain it in a bit. And maximum takeoff mass, it is the weight of the whole aircraft when it is considered as full. And takeoff noise level is the one that is caused by the engine during the aircraft takeoff, as I mentioned previously. And here, bypass ratio, what is it? It is the ratio of the air. Here we have the engine core, okay, engine core here in the middle. And we are talking about the air bypassing the engine core, the ratio of this air to the air that's going inside the engine core and gets burned. Yeah, and the ratio is giving us the bypass ratio. For example, here you can see my example at the bottom. So if my air, if I have 10 kg air, okay, time portion air, it is passing by the engine core, and only one portion of air is going inside the engine core and gets burned. And this is bypass ratio is 10 in that case, okay? And basically, we want more air outside the engine core than the inside. So we want high bypass ratio. Higher is the better, okay? So this is our principle. After identifying the key design parameters, we develop the conflicting relationships. So we want low takeoff noise. And I want thrust to be high so that it lifts my aircraft, right? But when the engine is on full power, it means that thrust is high, and as an effect, it causes too much noise. In order to achieve high thrust but low noise, what can I do? I can get more air in the engine, so I can increase my bypass ratio. However, to be able to increase the bypass ratio, you need a larger fan. So you might ask, so what is wrong with that? But larger fan means heavier aircraft, right? So I'm increasing the weight at the same time. So as you can see, there are so many conflicting relations across all these parameters altogether. Then, how can we know where the best trade-off? Okay, that's why we generated trade-off curves out of 55 previously successfully launched projects, 55 of them, and we plotted the data. And this data is from the same engine family, by the way. So I want high bypass ratio and high thrust, which falls into this area, right? But at the same time, I want low noise. Then this design solution, design X, is meeting my expectations, okay? for this setting only. When we look at these three parameters, let's put design X to a side. Now, we look at the maximum takeoff mass, thrust, and noise. In this case, we find a different design solution, which is design Y. Here comes the knowledge creation part, actually. After analysis of trade-off curves, of course, this is not limited to only these two trade-off curves I'm showing you. You can see the details in my papers, but here I want to show you the big picture, okay, without giving too much detail. So after analysis of trade-off curves, two design solutions, design X and design Y, are selected in order to evaluate whether they are eligible to be considered within the design set for further development until we achieve the optimal design. So design X, for example, here, we found out that this engine was 3 decibel quieter than the previous generated engines. So, and this quieter engine was due to the fan blade design. So fan blade design is giving us only this criteria is giving us 3 decibel quieter engine. Okay, let's keep it aside. And when we analyze the data of design Y, it was found that the material used in the production of the fan was titanium, which had an effect on the weight of the engine, jet engine. And as you know, titanium is quite a lightweight material. So what can we do now? We have a design set, okay? We are not done yet, of course. By going deeper down, like after we develop a set of possible design solutions, we can decide how we want to proceed to the optimal design. And this could be with minor modifications to the designs, or major modifications, or complete redesign inspired by the previous ones. So here we are talking about avoiding reinventing the wheel. Maybe you heard about such an idiom. We don't want to do everything from scratch, but we want to use our available knowledge and put on top of it and create the optimal designs. So we can avoid, even we can eliminate the process of prototyping to some extent during the early design stages. Okay, so if we want to conclude, aircraft noise is a major problem that affects not only environment but also economic sustainability. Jet engine is the main source of the aircraft noise, and especially at takeoffs. Engine manufacturers are under pressure of developing innovative jet engines with low noise levels. And creating a right knowledge environment and finding the right balance between the conflicting design parameters would support the development of low noise jet engine. Finally, trade-off curves give the designers an opportunity to build their knowledge towards a new design without prototyping, as I mentioned. So let me finish with a few words. There is a lot to do to save our environment. And Dr. Asar already mentioned with the previous webinar, impressive work was presented. So this is what I mean, actually. If everyone takes their responsibility in making small steps, okay, by time we will achieve the environmental sustainability altogether, inshallah. So, terima kasih. Thank you so much.
For the very insightful sharing session just now, because she have discussed ataupun share about that the noise pollution that faced by the world actually. And then what is grabbed my attention just now is that the map with the live airplane fly over our head. Uh, Actually, in Malaysia, we still in the MCO, movement control order, because we can't cross the border right now because the number of COVID-19 case is very high in Malaysia actually. And then
Yeah.
we try our best to flat the curve for the COVID-19. That's why there is a very limited aeroplane in our country just now. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Zehra. If we look at the comment section, there are some questions, but I will keep the questions at the end of these sessions because right now we're going to move to our second speaker, Dr. Norimi Rosaida Awang. Currently, she is a senior lecturer and hold the position as the head of department at the Department of Natural Resources and Sustainability, University Malaysia Kelantan. Her research of interest is on environmental engineering. Is quite same with the Dr. Zehra, but her focusing on the air pollution studies, ground level ozone, and environmental modeling. She has published many articles in high impact journal and received many international and national research grants. And for today, she's going to share with us about linkaging the emission of primary ground level ozone precursor and air quality. Please welcome Dr. Norimi.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Azhar, for today as a today moderator, and thank you for your kind introduction. Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon to everyone, especially for my co-speaker, Dr. Zehra from University of Sajaj, and today I would like to share a little bit information about the given topic. Okay, before I proceed, I would like to express my greatest gratitude to FSB International Webinar Series for the opportunity give to the share a little bit on the topic and expose the researcher, our FSB researcher, into a international webinar. And today I would like to share a little bit on my view on linkaging the emission of primary ground level ozone precursor and air quality. Okay, let me share my slide first.
Everything is okay, Dr. Norimi?
Okay, can you see my slide?
Okay.
All right, is it
Very
okay?
clear. Yeah.
Okay, so today let's talk about a little bit on linkaging the emission of primary ground level ozone precursor and air quality. Before I proceed, let's view a little bit on the current air pollution status and what are the things that are we facing on. Okay, I think most of us aware that air pollution constituent is the most pressing environmental health risk facing of our global population right now, and it is estimated by WHO 7 million premature deaths a year imposed by air pollution, and while 92% of the world population are estimated to breathe in toxic air pollution. So this figure shows that air pollution is a quite serious issue. And then in financial terms, premature death due to air pollution can cost us about 3 trillion in welfare loss worldwide. This is given by World Bank 2016. Okay, so we know that air pollution is the one of the leading risk factor for death. But what are this type of air pollution? So the type of pollution here, we talk about the indoor and outdoor particulate matter as well as ozone. These two types of air pollutant are the main risk factor for many of the leading causes of death, including such as heart disease, we have stroke, lower respiratory infection, lung cancer, diabetes, and also chronic obstructive pulmonary. So many more of these diseases are relates to air pollution. So as I mentioned before, let's view the death from air pollution in 2017. Okay, as we can see, these are the world's map. From the map, we can see that air pollution is a big issue in Asia, Africa, and also the South African country. In Malaysia, the share of that contributed by air pollution is estimated about 5 to 7.5%. So we are still in the middle. While China, that experienced very fast economic growth recently, estimate to be around 10 to 20%. Meanwhile, the highest share of that caused by air pollution experienced by India here. So India is about 12.5 to 15%, and this figure could be worse year by year since our economic growth is still expanding. Okay, so some here might think that the figure that I present here is less than 10%, might be very small, and there are other factors that are more concerning that from then air pollution. So let's we see that the next figure on the global burden of disease. Okay, so let me present a number of deaths by risk factor in worldwide. So as we can see, air pollution is in the fourth place, right, after the blood pressure, smoking, and high blood sugar, right? The top three seem its impact by our own choice of lifestyle. But for number 4 which is air pollution, either indoor and also outdoor, we literally have no choice but to breathe in unhealthy air. So that's the worldwide. Then let's focus more on Malaysia. In Malaysia, indoor and outdoor air pollution is in the 6th place after high blood pressure, smoking, high blood sugar, obesity, and diet in high of sodium. Once again, the top death risk factor are reflecting our lifestyle. And so we know that Malaysians love our food. There is so many good food. So these are the things that cause our health. And what most surprisingly is air pollution could impose higher risk than low physical activities and drug use in Malaysia. So we need to aware about air pollution. Let's move to our next figure. Okay, this is death rate from air pollution in Malaysia from 1990 to 2017. So I think many of us here, the audience here, could breathe in the relief for the translation of the figure. So as we can see, the outdoor particulate matter, the risk is getting lower, and also the indoor air pollution is getting lower. But the figure clearly show that the death rate for air pollution is in decreasing trend. So the main question is our air is getting better? So the right answer is definitely no, because the reduced impact in this figure is due to increase of our home environment actually. So our home becomes more comfortable. So many of us can afford a good home. So it could separate us from the indoor air pollution. So, and some of us can afford to install air filter. That's why this trend that we get. But
But this doesn't mean that our air pollution in Malaysia is getting better. Alright, so these are the general view of air pollution right now. I would like to ask the audience to go a little bit further on my air pollution of interest, which is ground level ozone. So, ground level ozone, I think most of us have heard about ozone. So, the main question is, we always thought that ozone was a good thing. Okay, but I doesn't but I can say that your understanding, the audience understanding is wrong or true, but I would like to add a little bit of information about ozone, because we need to understand that ozone is good when it's far, but it is becoming bad as it's near with us. So once the ground level ozone here is actually a very serious air pollutant. Okay, so let me introduce a little bit of ground level ozone. So basically, ground level ozone is quite differ from the stratosphere ozone, because ground level ozone is a secondary air pollutant. It means that it is not being emitted from any sources, but it's being created by photochemical reaction in the air. So the main ingredient to form ozone is a very simple. As we can see from the figure here, we just need nitrogen oxide and also volatile organic compound and a little bit of sunlight to create ozone. So it means that ozone can be created anywhere in our ambient air. Okay, so from the figure, we can see that nitrogen oxide is the main gas released by combustion by either our vehicle, cars, and so on. And also VOC comes from, can be from vegetation, mobile, and also industrial sources. Okay. So these figures show what are the primary and the secondary pollutants. So my topic today only focusing on the primary pollutant. So here we have carbon monoxide, nitric oxide, nitrogen dioxide, particulate matter, and also VOCs. Okay, all right. So as we can see here, these are the type of pollutant that very close to our economic activity. So these are the pollutants, are the gases that we are contribute every single day. So when we are driving our car, actually these are the pollutants that have been emitted. Okay, and then so the main question, another question is, if we would like to control these primary air pollutants, so what we should do? Okay, so and then I believe most of us know what should we do, but the main question is, can we avoid these activities? So let's be ponder on, and I will answer about that a little bit on. Okay, so that's what we ponder on. But something that very clear that it is established that primary pollutants such as nitrogen oxide, volatile organic compound, and also carbon monoxide is the main precursor that control ozone photochemical reaction. Once these three primary pollutants increase, so ozone will also increase. Okay, I would like to share a little bit on my research actually. These are during my PhD, I come across a very interesting phenomena that one of my study, so even the finding is not the novelty that I seek for my PhD. I'm still publish the finding as the show in the slide. What I found in Kemaman, Terengganu actually. So for Dr. Zehra, Kemaman Terengganu is located in east coast of Peninsula Malaysia. So it's just a neighbor state to Kelantan, what which actually I'm in. Okay. So what I found in Kemaman, Terengganu, is that there are high concentration of nighttime ozone compared to others location. This actually is a very rare event because, as I mentioned before, ozone is produced by photochemical reaction. Then, once we talk about photochemical reaction, it requires sunlight to complete the reaction. And during that time, of course, there are no sunlight, so ozone cannot be produced. Supposed to be ozone in during nighttime should be very small in concentration. But what I found is nighttime ozone in Kemaman show the other way around. So it's remain at high concentration even there are no photochemical reaction. And as we can see from the box and whisker plot, nighttime ozone in Kemaman also relatively higher than some places in Peninsula Malaysia and also some of location in worldwide. For my example here, I showed in Kolkata and also in Portugal. Alright, so what interesting is after some study and review, the most possible answer for this Kemaman case is probably related to low concentration of nitric oxide. So as we can see here, Kemaman, the concentration of nitric oxide in Kemaman is only about 1.1 ppb. It's a very small. It's in part per billion and it's just around 1.1. So as we can see, it's the smallest number among other locations in Peninsula Malaysia. So we come to conclusion that lower nitrogen oxide, both NO2 and also NO, restrict the sinking agent, thus reducing the depletion rate and allow ozone to remain in the atmosphere. So these are the conclusions that we can draw from those situations. Okay, then I would like to bring forward for our current issue here. So then in end of 2019, something very big happened. We come across what we call coronavirus or COVID-19. The scale from the epidemic is become large to pandemic, and these are the virus that responsible to become our new norm. So many of our activities become we need to change, we are forced to change basically. Okay. So one of the main strategies to stop the COVID-19, I think all of us is know, by enforcing lockdown, or in Malaysia, we call as movement restriction order. And for Malaysia, we start to enforce on 17th of March 2020 and it's until now. Okay, so it's already 1 year, my friend. So due to government restriction order, we are forced to stay at home, working from home and only going out if we have some very urgent activities. So due to this, normally congested road become less busy and some of the industrial factory need to shutting down. So in order to, the movement order, other than bring some impact in our control the COVID-19, it brings some positive impact to air quality actually. So environmentalists, I think some of us are rejoiced on the figure. Okay, as we can see from the slide, Department of Environment Malaysia report that the healthy days in Malaysia during the MCO period is increased by 26%. It's quite high in number. And some of the primary air pollutant that I talked earlier increased. For example, nitrogen dioxide is decreased by up to 88%. And also particulate matter, carbon monoxide, and many more. Okay, so these are the increasing trend that we experience during the restriction order. Okay, so and this trend also has been reported worldwide actually. So it's not only in Malaysia, those that are enforcing the restriction order also experience the same trend. So these are the figurative. I think we can go through. But what are the interesting is, okay, so it's been reported that other primary pollution is decreased. But as we can see from the time series figure here, several pollution that mentioned in the figure, actually these are the air pollution before and during MCO in Cheras that has been reported by Prof. Latif Talib from UKM actually. It's clear that we can see that PM or particulate matter and SO2 as well as CO is decreased. However, we can see here ozone trend during MCO is increased. Okay, so ozone show the other way around, the inverse of other pollutant trend. The same trend also has been reported in Shah Alam. So ozone also increased while other pollutant is decreased. And then, so not limit in Malaysia, the same trend also has been reported in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So the increase of ozone is about 30%. And then some of the lockdown in tropical region also as well as other parts of the world. So there is many various studies. It shows that during lockdown, ozone is increased. So it is the other way around from other primary pollutants. So it's okay. What happened in the reduction in primary pollutants or ozone precursor did not only unable to reduce ozone concentration in ambient air, but leads to increase of pollutant concentration. So we can see here ozone, in order to produce, we need this the first reaction here, but this primary pollutant also responsible to decrease ozone. So what happened during MCO is, even this first reaction is decreased, however, the decreasing in the third reaction makes ozone become higher. So these are the interesting is the conclusion that we agreed from nighttime ozone in Kemaman, as I mentioned before, also happened in other place. So the same scenario we found it already happened in other location and not limit during nighttime only. So we know that lower nitrogen concentration restrict the sinking agent, thus reducing the depletion rate of ozone and makes ozone remain in the atmosphere. But for the current situation, it not only remain but also increase in concentration, because these are the situations that occur during daytime. So what are interesting about this scenario is the initial basic idea to control ozone air pollution is by reducing precursor or primary air pollutant. So by reducing this kind of precursor, we hope that it will reduce ambient ozone concentration. Thus, it would improve our air quality. But it seems that the theory has been proved during MCO period the basic theory is no longer work. So with the recent finding, the reducing precursor concentration unable to promote a reduction in ozone concentration and leave us to ponder on how complex ground level ozone phytochemistry is. So the finding also give us some solid reason to revisit and rethink the effectiveness of our primary pollutant initiative, such as apa yang kita what we normally implement to curb this primary pollutant is by introducing the cleaner energy, cleaner petrol, the more effective engines. What other initiatives are the policies, the guideline that we enforce to what the intention is in order to reduce the precursor in hope that we can reduce the ozone level, but these important. So inshallah, these are the thing, these are the question, these are the focus that motivate us, me myself as a researcher to continue our work and keep exploring. So for today webinar, I can't give you some definite method, definite steps to control ozone air pollution, but something that we need to ponder on, especially for the air pollution studies. So as a conclusion for my session today, I would like to invite all audience here to think that how we can control ozone air pollution. So that's all for me. Thank you for listening, and I give back the session to our moderator, Dr. Azhar. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Norimi Rosaida Awang, for the very fascinating sharing sessions regarding the air pollutions. Actually, the air pollution is not like the Malaysia problem, because it's a worldwide problem. Every country, especially for the developing countries, because of what? Because the developing countries, actually, they have a lot of developing things happen there. They have a lot of constructions, a lot of the cars, motor, industry, and etc. They can contribute to the air pollutions. And Dr. Norimi as well has discussed regarding the effects and of the air pollutions in the Malaysia case and the worldwide case. And then I think right now we come to the engaging sessions, which is the Q&A sessions. For those who have any query, please do not hesitate to ask our panel here. Our panel is, I think, very ready to answer your questions. But first of all, I think I have two questions from my side to Dr. Zahra, because I willing to know that is it you have discussed the effects of noise pollution to the human, and I would like to know that if there is any effects of noise pollution to the plants and animal in terms of maybe biodiversity or etc. Dr. Zahra.
Thank you so much. Thank you also, Dr. Norimi, for your nice presentation. This is a very good question. Thank you so much, Dr. Mohammed. Actually, you might not find direct effects on the animals or environment of the noise effects, but you might say that it's disturbing. Even if it is disturbing human being, okay, there are some animals with better capacity of hearing. Like as human being, we hear to some extent, but there are some animals they hear much more than what we hear, okay? And I might say that with very little knowledge, to be honest, in this context, I might say that it might be disturbance to such animals who are actually, have a better ability of hearing. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Maybe
So
the animal.
we
Yeah.
can say that indirect,
Yeah.
disturbance, effects we can talk about. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Zahra, for the opinion and answers. And then I have one more questions to Dr. Norimi because Dr. Norimi discussing regarding the air pollutions. And I would like to know that if there is any effects of the high concentration of ozone to the human health or to the plant or the animal. Is it there is effects to the animal if there is very high concentration of ozone in our ground level ozone?
Okay, so to answer Dr. Azhar question, I would like to ask Dr. Azhar. Okay, so if Dr. Azhar need to change your car tire,
Okay.
okay, do you need to change or not? After some time, we need to change. We need to replace tire with a new tire, right?
Okay, correct.
Okay.
Yep.
In fact, I just recently changed mine. Sorry for interrupting.
Okay. Even your car is not being used, you just park somewhere and then, but after some time, your tire seems to be so hard and everything, and then sometimes it can go what we call brittle. Okay, and then it's exposed to some it's hardening. What I try to say is it's become so hard and then the cushion is no more. So these are the effects of ozone to our material. Ozone is a very oxidation, is a very powerful oxidation. So it gives, it could affect even our tire, all our rubber, and also the corrosive effects of the paint actually is due to ozone. Okay, so just imagine the tire can be affected by ozone, so our lung definitely can be affected by ozone. So ozone is most of the time affecting our breathing system. So our lungs become normally it's starting from our nose. It's something, and when we breathe in ozone, it's become what I'm trying to say is it could affect especially our respiratory system.
Okay, I think that is a new knowledge for me because I don't know that the ozone can affect our health. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Norimi. I think now we go to the audience questions. I think we have one questions from Dr. Amanajiha to Dr. Zehra. She asked that we as the academician, especially in the program of sustainability, how can we contribute to the sustainable of atmosphere in reducing noise pollutions? I think that is question from Dr. Amal. Dr. Zehra, if you can answer those questions.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Amal, for inviting and also for your question. As academicians, I include myself also, but being in sustainability department, for you, I think there are a lot to, contribute to sustainable air transport. As I mentioned during my presentation, for example, first of all, focusing on reducing the noise at source would be an idea. But as academicians, do we have this power? Unfortunately, not direct power because it is in the hand of the industry, right? But what we can do as researchers, as academicians, as researchers, let's talk about it first. We can create awareness, okay, by publishing papers. This seminar even is a tool to raise awareness in noise pollution. And what else we can have funded projects, but here industry and university collaboration is very important, and we can look for the ways how we can collaborate and how both parties can contribute to this sustainable air transport we are talking about. And on the other hand, as academician, we are teaching at the same time, right? And we can bring up this topic enough that our students are also having the awareness, because our students will be in the industry in good positions in the future, so they will be the ones who are making decisions. So we can expose them to enough knowledge that they make accurate decisions in the future when it comes to that point. Yeah, and it is not only design level also, okay, but also it is like about land use and so on. Again, it is like airports, and you can even go up to the government level. But of course, you can identify an action plan how you can reach such authorities and how you can contribute. So this would be my answer. Yeah, it is a holistic picture we see here. It is not only one design. It's not only one party like academician or researcher. This is quite a big picture, you know. So we need to move all together as a holistic approach.
Okay, I agree with Dr. Zehra. We need to together move forwards to solve the every issue that we face right now. I think we have another questions to Dr. Norimi from Dr. Firdaus. I think the question is quite same with Encik Izami questions, where he asked that what is the most significant source of nitrogen oxide in Malaysia? How can we move forward in reducing these emissions to protect our ozone? Dr. Narimi?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Azhar, and then thank you, Dr. Firdaus and Cik Izami for the question. So I think the same question I already asked during my presentation. So the most significant nitrogen oxide source in Malaysia is from actually the combustion of our vehicle. So then what that contribute to the nitrogen oxide here is an incomplete combustion of our vehicle engine. Once the incomplete combustion happens, it will increase the amount of NO and nitrogen oxide emission. Let's say we would like to reduce the nitrogen oxide emission. So what we need to do is first is make sure that our engine is capable to transform the petrol or our diesel into energy 100%. But so this most of the time achieved by complete combustion. Once we have the complete combustion, then we our cars doesn't need to emit this NOx. So for the second, the idea is if we would like to reduce the NOx, so is it we can or I would like to say, is it we can replace our car with a cleaner engine? That's the most important, I think. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Norimi, for the answer. I think we get a last question, I think, for Dr. Zahira from Siti Haja Yaakob. She asked that I like to know how much possible that noise pollution will influence mental health issue, example, anxiety, stress, and etc. She want to know to what extent the noise pollution can affect the mental health issue. Dr. Zahra, can you answer that?
Thank you so much for the question again. I'm not specialized in mental health issues, but I can say that maybe I should give an example from my life. I just moved to, I mean, not just, but last September, I shifted my house to nearby an airport in Dubai. And for 2 weeks, it took us to be able to sleep at night, okay?
Really?
Because it's also not only the airport, and imagine I'm doing research in this area, and I'm facing such an issue. Like it was really too much. My son, 2 years old, he was back then 2 years old, and every night, literally every night, he woke up and didn't sleep for 2 hours, and asking to see the planes. I want to see the planes. Okay, so it was really too much. Even I hate moving. Okay, moving the house. It is. I've been moving too much in my entire life now, and I said, like, I come to a point that I was going to move again in 2 weeks only. Can you imagine? And I was looking for the curtains which blocks the noise, etc. And by then, until I find a solution, I already got used to it, and my son started sleeping again at night. And yeah, these are the effects, but really I'm talking from experience, this daily life experience. It is really too much. For example, we have a very nice balcony. I mentioned in my presentation even. Really, I'm experiencing this. We can't sit at the balcony peacefully. Okay, we use it, but all of a sudden an airplane is passing by, and you have to stop your conversation because you don't hear each other. So it's really I can say that it really increases the stress level. Okay, it affects. It might not damage the it might not damage the mental health. I cannot say anything about that, unfortunately, but I'm sure it has indirect effects again, and especially those who are constantly exposed to the high levels. Again, in the chart I showed you, for example, the workers, okay, they work within the industrial zone where the noise is in very high levels. It might affect their ear, hearing, and so on. So I am sure it is also affecting the mental health one way or another.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Zahra, for the answer. I think that we can avoid for the noise pollution right now, especially in the developing countries, because especially in Malaysia as well, we have a very mass production atau industrial development here. We have a lot of industry, then we have a lot of construction that happen here in Malaysia. And then for me as well, I also experience the noise pollution from my side, from my house, where my house is very near to the construction site, and then every morning I will hear that the very noise from the construction site. Okay, I think there is no other questions from the audience. I think we have now come to the end of the webinar, I think, because I'm afraid that that's all the time that we have for these sessions. On behalf of the FSB International Webinar Committee, we would like to thank the speakers, Dr. Zahra, thank you very much. Dr. Norimi, thank you very much for the wonderful sharing sessions. Massive thanks to the audience for the times and support to participate in this webinar. We hope to see you again at the next FSB International Webinar. Thank you. Then Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye. Thank you very much, Dr. Zahra.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.